Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey there nation, welcome to the show. We help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander CheapSkate, and we are back with the Golden Age, our weekly series of Warhammer Fantasy Battle Reports. And this is Battle Report number 80, and it is a 3,000 point battle that is fought between Lady Domina as well as myself. Lady Domina is bringing House Daechir, the Golden Reavers of Skyros, a 3,000 point Dark Elves army, and I'm playing the Feldhole Nations, a 3,000 point Dwarf army. Now, in case you're unaware what we're doing for our Warhammer the Golden Age Battle Report series, what we are doing is what we are calling Warhammer Roulette. The idea is supposed to be that we roll off for random values. We roll off to randomly determine what army I will be playing for a Battle Report. I will also be rolling another value to determine randomly which player I'll be playing against and which army they will be bringing, and of course what point value we'll be playing at. In this case, it's 3,000 points of Dark Elves versus Dwarves. So we'll play some background music real quick. If you want to see exactly what we're bringing for this one, go ahead and pause and take a look at your own leisure, or you can look down in the description down below, and we also have the army list posted there as well. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Crom, I've never prayed you before. I have no tongue for it. No one, not even you, will remember if we were good men or bad, why we fought, or why we died. No. All that matters is that two stood against many. That's what's important. Balor pleases you, Crom. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then to hell with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
Alright, so the scenario for this one we're playing is called Battle Line. It consists of the most basic type of Warhammer there is, with standard deployment as well as standard victory conditions. So with the scenario over with, let's go and talk about the deployment real quick and the battle plan. So here's an overhead shot of the entirety of the battlefield. As you can see, we're playing on a 4x6 table. I am deployed on the far side of the table, while Lady Domina is deployed on the near side of the table as well. So I'm playing a dwarf gunline list for the most part, so the tactic for me is actually quite simple. Pretty much I'm just going to stand my ground for the most part, make Lady Domina bring her forces to me. I'm going to try to shoot apart her army as quickly as I can before engaging them with counter charges and finishing them off in close combat. That's pretty much the dwarf gunline list works for how you do a dwarf army that way, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. The only other maneuver element I have really is on the flanks. On the left hand side I got Bugman's Rangers. I'm going to try to use those guys to sweep along to the left hand side and destroy her Reaper bolt throwers. At the same time, the right hand side I got my Hammerers, the Clan Stone Cloak, the Chosen Vyala, and their job is just to kind of maintain and secure my left hand flank at the same time. And that's pretty much the battle plan I'm going on with this one. So with the battle plan over, let's go and talk about deployment real quick. So starting off with Lady Domina, this is a deployment here on the left-hand side. She's got two units located here. On the left-hand side, she has the Storms of Kos, which are two Reaper bolt throwers with crews. And up in the front there, those guys are called the Shadowrunners. There are 5 Dark Riders with a Musician. They got spears, repeater crossbows, light armor, as well as dark steeds. So on to our main battle line. Over there on the left and the front, all the way up there, Vanguard of 12 inches. Those are the Shacklemore Seers, a unit of 5 Doomfire Warlocks with a Master of Warlocks leading it. They got level 2 spells of the Cursed Coven. They also got hand weapons as well as dark steeds as well. And over there on the left hand side, that character's name is Mistress Iridani, the consort of Dagon. She's a Dark Elf Master. She's equipped with great weapon, heavy armor, sea dragon cloak, as well as a shield. She's packing the Quote of Twilight, so that way she gets 3 abort saves against range attacks as well as magical attacks, and causes D3 killing blow in the very first round of combat. And she is riding Myrmidon, which is a Dark Pegasus. Right next to her on the right hand side, that is a unit of 20 Dark Shards called the Morning Dawn. They have a Musician as well as a Stand Bearer. They're equipped with repeater crossbow, hand weapons, as well as light armor, and they also have the Banner of Eternal Flame. And then right next on the right hand side, that huge horde formation, that is the Sea Stone Sorrows. It is a unit of 38 Dread Spears with Musician and Standard Bearer. They're equipped with spears, shields, and light armor. They also have a standard discipline, giving them +1 to the leadership. At the same time, leading that unit are two different characters. On the left-hand side, that is Captain Lodi Daechir, the Golden Sun. He is a Dark Elf Master who's also a Battle Standard Bearer. He's got a halberd, heavy armor, Sea Dragon Cloak, as well as a shield, and he's packing the Crown of Command. So the unit is also stubborn as well. And then right next to him on the very far right-hand side, that character's name is Sister Sinner, the Oracle of Kos. She's a Supreme Sorceress, level 4, Lore of Life this time around. She's got a hand weapon, as well as a sacrificial dagger, as well as a talisman of endurance. And that pretty much makes the left-hand side for Lady Domina's army on this one. And finally making up her right-hand flank. In the back on the left-hand side, that is her general. That is Lord Mydaas Daechir, the Golden Lord of Skyros. He's a high beastmaster who's also the general for this army. He's equipped with light armor and a Sea Dragon Cloak. He's cacking the Chill Blade, as well as Armor of Fortune. So he's got a 5 ward save. He's also got the other Trickster Shard, which means that any ward save that his opponents might have, they have to re-roll it. He's also riding Kalibos, which is a Manticore, who's got the Blind Fury, as well as Iron Hard Scales upgrade as well. In front of him, that is Rathrek the Maw. That is a monster. That is a Charybdis up there in the front. And then right next on the right hand side, that is the Crimson Blades. It is a unit of 14 Cold One Knights with full command. They have lances, heavy armor, shields, and riding cold ones. They also got the Banner of Swiftness, giving them +1 to their movement. And also in that unit is another character named Milady Murder. She's the Tamer of Beasts. She's a level 1 Lore of Beasts, the Sorceress. She's equipped with hand weapon as well as a cold one. And she's also got a Dispel Scroll. And then finally on the far right hand side, that is Virazil the Broken, who is a War Hydra, who's also equipped with Fiery Breath. And that makes up Lady Dama's deployment on this one. Alright, so going on with my deployment for the Fellhold Nations. Over here on the left-hand flank with a scout scouting up ahead. That is one of my rare choices. That is Bugman's Rangers, a unit of 19 Dwarf Rangers with Musician and Standard Bearer. They got hand weapons, great weapons, dwarf crossbows, throwing axes, as well as heavy armor. They also got the Joseph Bugman Rangers upgrade as well. Next to them as well in that unit is their character, Joseph Bugman. He's a special character ranger. He's got a dwarf crossbow, Gromroll armor, and shield. He's also got Old Trustworthy, his runic axe, as well as Bugman's Tankard. And that guy's the unit scouting up forward. Up next on my left-hand deployment for my main battle line, on the far left-hand side, that is called the Sorrows of Eld. It is a cannon. It's equipped with a Rune of Forging as well as a Rune of Burning, so it's got flaming attacks and also rerolls any misfires. Next to them on the right-hand side, that is the Sembrus of Winter's Passing, which is a Dwarf Ergen gun. It's got the Rune of Accuracy attached to that one, and on the back, that is the Remember. It is a Grudge Thrower with a Rune of Penetrating, so that way its shots has strength 4. Next to the right hand side, that is Clan Helheim, followed the Dragonbacks, a unit of 17 Dwarf Thunderers with full command. They're equipped with dwarf handguns, hand weapons, heavy armor, as well as shield. And leading that unit as well is Grim Burluxon. He's a special character, Dwarf Engineer. He's equipped with Cog Axe, brace of Dwarf Pistols, Gromroll armor, as well as Grudge Raker. And that makes up my left-hand deployment. In the center, I got two other units. That huge horde formation, that is a unit known as Clan Roadsulker, the Cursed Company. Is a unit of 37 Dwarf Warriors with Musician and Standard Bearer. They're equipped with hand weapons, heavy armor, as well as shields. And that unit, I have a couple of characters. First and foremost, right in the center, that is Lord Ivar Bodison, the Lord of Fallen Holds. He's my lord. He's also a general. He's got a great weapon, Gromroll armor, as well as shield bearers. He's got a Rune of Parrying, so that way he's -1 hit against, 2 runes of iron, as well as a Rune of Fortitude. In that unit, I also have Yorick Shatter Shield, the Chosen of Grungni. He is my Thane. He's also a Battle Standard Bearer upgrade. He's equipped with a great weapon, Gromroll armor, and shield. He's also passing the Master Rune of Grungni. That way he's got a 4 ward save and a 5 ward save for the entire unit against shooting attacks. And finally, over there on the right hand, also in that unit as well, on the far left hand side, that is Ragnar the Spellbreaker. He is a Rune Smith with a great weapon, Gromroll armor, and shield. He's also got 2 runes of Spellbreaking as well. And then finally on the far right hand side, that is Clan Izmir, the Vengeful Ones, a unit of 18 Dwarf Quarrelers. They are equipped with Musician and Standard Bearer with Dwarf Crossbows, great weapons, as well as heavy armor. And then finally on the far right hand side of my flank, that is Clan Stormcloak, the Chosen of Valaya. They are a unit of 19 Dwarf Hammers with Musician and Standard Bearer. They're packing great weapons, heavy armor, as well as shield. They got a rune of Master Rune of Valaya on that unit as well. And then leading that is Torstick Blackbriar. He's a Runesmith. He's packing a great weapon, Gromroll armor, and shield. He's also got a Rune of Spellbreaking as well. And that pretty much makes up my deployment for my army on this one. So with deployment over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 1, and both Lady and Dom and I roll off for initiative to see who will be going first. Alright, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 1 for the Dark Elves. Lady Domina got the initiative on this one. So this photo is taken after the movement phase. As you see in this photo, she pretty much just kind of marches up as quick as she possibly can to start surrounding my forces. First thing that she does a quick wheel around the left-hand side with the Shadowrunners, as well as our Dark Pegasus Rider, that is Mistress Iridani. She flies forward to the side of the river, while the Dark Shadow Riders are facing the left, back right, as well as the back approach from my Bugman's Rangers in order to hit me there in the flank or behind. At the same time, she also marches up the Shacklemore Sears left-hand side behind that force, looking on the left-hand flank of my War Machines. While that's occurring, she also marches up Veers of the Broken and Rathrek the Maul on the far right-hand side of the battlefield, moving them forward 12 inches, while only moving up her Crimson Blades or normal 8 movement allowance. That way they can get a good position to charge against my Dwarf Hammers. While that's occurring, she then flies over her general, Lord Mydaas Daechir, behind that rock in the middle of the battlefield, so that way she doesn't worry about getting shot at. And she also moves up normally her Sea Stone Stars, as well as her Morning Dawn, so that way they can take a long-range shot with their repeater crossbows. And that pretty much makes up her movement phase on this one. So here's a close-up of the left-hand side for the movement phase. As you see, the Shadowrunners are getting ready to either hit me in the flank or in the behind for Bugman's Rangers, which is all kinds of bad for me. At the same time, you can see Mrs. Iridani moving up forward as quick as she can, so that way she can flank right directly into my War Machines. At the same time, here's a close-up of the Shacklemore Seers, who are doing exactly the same thing, flanking to the right-hand side of my War Machines, staying out of the field of fire, but at the same time close enough to where they can lay down spells across my entire main line, which is absolutely terrifying. Here's a close-up of Lady Domina's center lines. As you can see, Mydaas Daechir is hiding behind that huge series of standing stones, so that way it doesn't get shot out with the War Machine. You can see the Morning Dawn as well as the Sea Stone Stars also moving in for support. And finally, there's a close-up of Lady Domina's left right-hand flank. You got Rathrek the Maul, the Charybdis, as well as Veers of the Broken, moving along the right-hand flank with the Crimson Blades right between them, escorting them all the way down the right-hand side to engage my hammers. So with the movement phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. So during the magic phase, Lady Domina managed to try to cast the spell Wissen's Wild Form off on her character Milady Murder, who's the character riding alongside the Cold One Riders. Luckily for me, though, I was able to dispel that spell with one of my runes of spell breaking, so that way she doesn't get that off to give her Dark Elf Cold One Knights 5 of strength as well as toughness of 4, because that would be absolutely terrifying to go up against. She then tries to cast Throne of Vines, and I try to dispel it normally using my normal just dispel dice, as well as the Master Rune of Valaya. Unfortunately for me, though, I wasn't able to get Throne of Vines. I wasn't able to stop that spell, so because of that, she now has that Remains in Place spell off on her wizard as well, giving her all those nice little buffs at the same time. She then tries to cast Dwellers from Below, is what she tries to do next. I managed to stop that spell from going off. I used one of my runes of spell breaking to do that, so I had to get rid of that spell, and I also made her forget that spell too, so that part was really epic as well. However, though, she still had quite a few power dice still left over, and she actually used them to the best of her advantage. First of all, she cast Flesh to Stone off on her unit of Sea Stone Stars, giving those guys up a 4-up toughness, so now these guys are toughness 7 Dark Elves, which is absolutely terrifying. And she was also able to get off Earthblood directly onto her unit here on the right-hand side for the Morning Dawn, giving them a 4 regen as well. So pretty powerful magic phase for her. So the magic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. And in the shooting phase, the Morning Dawn opened up with long-range shots with the repeater crossbows, managed to kill 5 of my Dwarf Thunderers from Cloud and Hellhind, so that part was kind of sad. I was able to pass my panic check without any problems, but still, that's like 5 less Thunderers I now have, and that's pretty rough. Meanwhile, over here on the far right-hand side, man, Lady Domina, man, she really cut loose with those Dark Riders, firing 10 shots of crossbow bolts directly into the back of Bugman's Rangers, and she was just rolling out of the box for hitting rule wounds. I was rolling really poor from my armor saves. Managed to lose 7 of my Dwarf Rangers, which is absolutely crazy. Luckily for me, though, I do manage to pass my panic test, so I don't have to worry about running, but that pretty much makes up the turn for that part as well. And that's 7 Dwarves. Dwarf Ranger just shot off the table like that. Just absolutely insane how that worked out for Lady Domina. We do skip the combat phase because nobody charged this turn, so we go directly to the bottom of turn number 1 for the Dwarves. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 1 for the Dwarves, and as you can see in this photo is after the move phase. I didn't do any moving whatsoever. I'm playing Dwarves. It doesn't make sense for me to move at all. I don't move very quickly to begin with. I'm playing very defensively. I'm playing a gunline list as well, so none of my units move. Everyone stays exactly where they're located at. Even my Rangers, because I plan on taking some shots with my crossbows directly into the Eagle Claw Blowthrowers. And, sorry, not Eagle Claw Blowthrowers, Reaper Blowthrowers. And that pretty much makes up my move phase. Pretty lackluster on that one. So here's a close-up of Bugman's Rangers, located here on the left-hand side. I did, of course, use the roll the liquid fortification roll to see exactly what they have for this turn, and then I'm getting stubborn on this one, which is also kind of nice because these guys now don't have to worry about taking any break tests at any negative modifiers. So that part's kind of nice. And here's a close of my center line, standing exactly where they're supposed to be at because there's no point in them moving. Also in the back there, you can see that I also have my Ancestral Grudge rule going off. My general hates Lady Dominus General, so that's pretty much how it works with the Ancestral Grudge rule. And here's a close-up of Clan Stormcloak, the Chosen of Valaya, just standing their ground, getting ready to receive the charge from some Dark Elf Common Knights, as well as possibly monsters. So they're just kind of standing their ground at this point. So with the movement phase over with, we skip magic phase because Dwarves don't play that game, and we go directly to the shooting phase. So during the shooting phase, I managed to plink off one crew member from the Storms of Koss. So, you know, didn't really do much of anything because this Reaper Thrower can still shoot, it can still fire. So that part was kind of sad. And at the same time, my shooting was pretty lackluster for the most part. I was really disappointed in myself when it came to the shooting phase this time around. First thing I did is I opened up with the Organ Gun as well as my Dwarf Thunderers from the Clan Helheim. We opened up directly into the Morning Dawn. I was able to kill 9 of them, which is almost half the unit, which is kind of great. But at the same time, though, I didn't atomize the unit like I usually do, which is really, really sad for me. They do pass their panic checks, don't worry about going anywhere, but at the same time, though, it was kind of disappointing. I did fire my catapult directly into the Seastone Sorrows, but I missed my shot, my Remember, so that part was kind of sad. And then for my cannon, I opened fired onto, I believe it was Virzil, I think it was Rathric the Maw, but unfortunately when I rolled for the bounce, I rolled a misfire, so the cannonball just got embedded in the ground for the most part. And then my crossbows pretty much did nothing against my opponent. It was a really lackluster shooting phase, and I was really disappointed in that fact. So with the shooting phase over with, we skip combat because nobody charged yet, and we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Dark Elves. Alright, so we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Dark Elves, and this is photos taken after the move phase. And as you can see in this photo, quite a lot of dramatic movement ended up happening. First of all, Lady Down decides to charge in directly on the left-hand flank with Bugman's Rangers, using her Shadowrunners to charge directly into the back of them, so that part was kind of sad. At the same time, Lady Down also declares a charge with her Doomfire Warlocks. The Shacklemore Seers go charging directly into my cannon, which is the Sorrows of Eld, so that part was kind of sad. At the same time, she also charges forward with her hero, Mistress Iridani, the consort of Dagon, on the hero on the Pegasus, and she charged directly into the Sorrows of Eld, so that part really sucked as well. At the same time, she also declares a charge of Crimson Blades on the far right-hand flank, and they go directly smashing into the Stormcloak, the Clan Stormcloak, the Chosen Valaya. She then also tries to declare a charge with Rathric the Maw as well as Virzil the Broken directly into Clan Izmir, the Vengeful Ones, on the right-hand side. Unfortunately for her, she failed both those charges, and I stood and I shot back and actually caused quite a bit of wounds on those two guys. So that part was pretty epic as well. And then, of course, she keeps the Morning Dawn exactly where they're located at because she doesn't want them to move, and then she marches up the Seastone Sorrows heading towards my main battle lines. And that pretty much makes the move phase on this one. So here's a close-up of the move phase. You can see there the Shadowrunners, 5 Dark Riders, have flown right into the back of my Bugman's Rangers, so that part is kind of crazy. I have to deal with that. I'm not so much worried about them actually causing any injuries for my guys. I'm just kind of worried about me not being able to hit back as well like I probably should. And here's a close-up of the left-hand side of my main battle line. It's kind of sloppy looking just because we couldn't fit the miniatures on the base where the forest is. But if you want to know what's basically going on, what's happening is that my opponent's Shacklemore Seers, the 5 Doomfire Warlocks, they've charged into the left-hand side of my organ gun. At the same time, you can see there that Mistress Iridani, the consort of Dagon, she's charged directly into the front of the cannon. So because of the Sorrows, it was also being attacked. And you can see there that Mydaas, Daechir, as well as Kalibos, they're kind of hiding out there behind the forest there on the left-hand side. And here's a close-up of the Seastone Sorrows, moving up as quick as they can with their 4-up toughness, as well as the Morning Dawn hanging back, so that way they can have another volley of their repeater crossbows. And finally, here's a close-up of the Crimson Blades charging directly into the Chosen of Valaya, so that part's kind of crazy. At the same time, you can also see the 2 wounds I put on Rathric the Maw, the Charybdis, as well as the 1 wound I put on Virzil the Broken as they went charging across the battlefield to go directly towards Clan Izmir. And that pretty much makes up the move phase on this one. So with the move phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. Alright, so with that we go to the magic phase. Magic phase is kind of a wash for her, so not much really happened there. So because of that, we go directly to the shooting phase. As you can see in this photo, Lady Dawn decided to concentrate fire with the Morning Dawn as well as her two members from the Storms of Kos. They open it with multi-shots directly into Clan Roadsoaker, and so combined fire between those two units managed to kill a quarter of my Dwarf Warriors right off the bat, killed about 10 of them. And that part was absolutely horrifying to see that actually happen. Luckily for me though, I did pass my panic check, so I don't have to worry about running away. But at the same time though, man, Lady Dawn was rolling out of the box for shooting rolls, and that part is freaking amazing. So with the shooting phase over, we go directly to the combat phase. As you can see in this photo, combat phase actually went pretty well for me over here on the left-hand flank. First of all, the Dark Riders, they do try to attack my dwarves, but unfortunately for Lady Dawn, though, they just kind of flubbed their rules, so not much really happened. I then counterattacked, making way with Joseph Bugman, so that way you can find the back. Managed to kill 3 Dark Riders, which part was really, really awesome as well. Unfortunately for me, though, Lady Dawn did pass her panic check, so her Dark Riders are still there, and so my Rangers still engaged in close combat, which is kind of rough, but you know, at this point, I'll just take what I can get. Meanwhile, combat between the War Machines as well as the Dark Elves did not go very good at all. First of all, Lady Domino was able to destroy the Skyros Eld with Mistress Iridani. Just having those killing blow attacks on that great weapon that she's wielding, as well as the attacks on the Pegasus, was able to kill off the last of my Dwarf Cannoneers. If I remember correctly, I think 2 of them died from Mistress Iridani. The other one got killed by the Dark Pegasus, so that part was horrific. Because she charged directly into the cannon, one, of course, she does overrun, and she goes directly into the left-hand flank of Clan Helheim over there on the left-hand side. And exactly the same thing occurs over the back there. The Decemberist, which is my organ gun, the crew just gets slaughtered by the Shacklemore Seers. They do, of course, defeat that. They do a run-through real quick, and they overrun directly into the left-hand flank of the Rememberers. So now my Dwarf War Machines are completely out of commission, and also my left-hand flank is being attacked as well. And finally, over here on the right-hand side, combat went actually pretty poorly for me, all things considered. First of all, Lady Dawn was able to kill 5 of my hammers, which was really sad, so I was really ate up about that part. However, I was able to cause some damage back, was able to kill 2 of her Cold One Knights in the process of doing so. So that part was kind of nice. Sadly for me, though, I did lose combat, but it doesn't really matter, though, because I'm stubborn, so I always roll off on an unmodified leadership. And let's face it, dwarves don't break, so my clan Dragon Cloak just kind of stood exactly where their ground was while taking their charge from the Crimson Blades. And that pretty much makes up the combat phase on this one. So with the combat phase over with, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 2 for the dwarves, and this photo is taken at the moon phase. And it's this point that I realized I gotta really make some moves here, because if I don't, I'm gonna get stuck in one place. I'm gonna be slaughtered. So I decided to do a breakout at this point. First thing I decided to do is I decided to charge forward with Clan Roadsoaker. Upon my opponent, Lady Dominant, decides to receive the charge from my Dwarf Warriors. So my Dwarf Warriors go charging across the battlefield and smash directly into the Seastone Sorrows. Hopefully I can break through them, take out the Morning Dawn, turn 180, and then face whatever monsters might be coming my way at the same time. While that's occurring, I also decided to charge with Clan Izmir. Clan Izmir goes directly into the left-hand flank of the Crimson Blades, catch those guys and pincer attack. My goal here is hopefully I can destroy the Crimson Blades outright. If I can't destroy them, they'll break. I won't pursue, and then I'll do combat reforms in order to face off against the monsters. That way I'm not completely over-surrounded. That's the plan going on over there. At the same time, I do a real swift reform with my Clan Helheim. They go, of course, turn 90 degrees to the left, so that way they can face off against Mistress Iridani as well as the Dark Pegasus and Myrmidon as well. And then finally, of course, on the far left-hand side, Bugman's Rangers still currently engaged in close combat with the Shadowrunners, and that pretty much makes my move phase on this one. So here's a close-up of Bugman's Rangers still currently engaged with the Shadowrunners, so that part, they're not really going anywhere on that one, and hopefully I can destroy these guys, that way I can move on directly to those Storms of Kos and Reaper Bolt Throwers are on top of the hill. And here's a close-up of Clan Helheim getting ready to switch, just doing a swift reform so that way they can face off against Mistress Iridani, the Consort of Dagon. And of course you can see that my Rememberer is currently engaged in close combat with the Shacklemore Seers. And finally, here's a close-up of Clan Izmir as well as Clan Stormcloak, currently engaged in pincer attack directly against the Crimson Blades as well. And that pretty much makes up my my movement phase of this one. Now, I do realize that my back for Clan Izmir is, of course, facing the back of Rathrek the Maul, but like I said, my plan is hopefully I can defeat the Crimson Blades and then I can turn around and face against him after doing a quick combat reform. And that's pretty much the kind of goal I'm going with on this one. So with the move phase over with, we skip magic because dwarves don't play with magic, and we skip the shooting phase because all my shooting elements are currently engaged in close combat, so we go directly to the combat phase. Alright, so close combat phase over here on the left-hand side. As you can see in this photo, the Bugman's Rangers had no problem whatsoever just chopping down the very last two members of the Dark Riders. I got really lucky on this one. The Dark Riders did manage to kill one of my Dwarf Rangers, so that part was kind of sad. However, it was all good because I finished out the rest of the Dark Riders, so one less thing I got to worry about. Meanwhile, over here on the left-hand flank, though, combat did not go so well for me. I did manage to put a wound onto Mistress Iridani, which is kind of nice, but in exchange, she was able to kill 3 members of my Dwarf Thunderers as well, so that part was kind of sad. And needless to say, the Shacklemore series had no problem slaughtering the crew of the Rememberers, so that part was really sad as well. And they do a quick combat reform, as you can see there, getting ready to cause some problems in my back ranks. So now we're going on to the combat here in the center between Clan Roadsulker as well as the Seastone Sorrows, and if you notice, nothing is happening in this photo, and the reason why is because Lady Dominant and I made a mistake on this one. For some strange reason, we had a kind of brain fart when it came to challenges and the combat between two units during a challenge. So originally, Lady Dominant decided to issue a challenge with Captain Lodi Daechir, the Golden Sun, that's her master battle standard bearer, and I decided to answer the challenge with my general, Lord Ivar Bodison, the Lord of Fallen Holds. Unfortunately for both of us, though, none of us were able to cause any wounds. We just basically just kind of stared at each other the entire time, just weren't able to commit a wound to one another as well. So because of that, we thought, because since no combat really took place between the two of them, that for whatever strange reason, we just thought the rest of the unit didn't fight because neither caused the death of another, ending the challenge. So we just thought, okay, so we just move on then, there's no combat. We realized later on that is actually totally bogus, and that we made a huge mistake on that part. But at the time, that's how we played it, and like I said, I'm going to report honestly about how we played, and that's exactly what occurred. So because of that, both these units kind of stare at each other, not doing much of anything, which is kind of sad. And then finally, combat between Clan Izmir as well as Clan Stormcloak was completely one-sided. I butchered every single member of the Crimson Blades. That part was epic as always. In exchange, I did lose 5 members of Clan Viola, so because of the Clan Stormcloak, so because I did lose 5 more hammers, which is kind of sad as well. But at the same time, though, those great weapon attacks from the Dwarf Quarrelers as well as the great weapon attacks coming from my hammers was just enough just to atomize the entirety of the unit. So that part was pretty epic. And at the same time, since I won combat, I did quick combat reform real quick with Clan Izmir as well as Clan Stormcloak. So because of that, both units are now facing off against their respected monsters, and hopefully I can destroy those guys before they cause any problems. And that pretty much makes it the dwarf turn on this one. So with that, we go directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Dark Elves, and this photo is taken after the movement phase. And as you can see in this photo, quite a bit of movement actually ended up happening. Primarily just charges. First of all, Lady Dominant declares a charge of the Shacklemore series to go directly into the left-hand flank of Clan Helheim up there in the top of the screen, so that part's kind of rough. And then secondly, she declares a charge with her general, Lord Mydaas Daechir, goes directly into the back rank of Clan Roadsulker, and then she also charges from the left with the Morning Dawn directly into the left-hand flank of Clan Roadsulker as well. So now I'm stuck in a 3-way attack, being attacked from 3 different sides, which really sucked. At the same time, she also decides to charge with Virzel the Broken directly into Clan Stormcloak, and to make matters worse, he also healed up the wound that he had suffered earlier, and then Rathric the Maw goes charging directly into Clan Izmir. I think I failed to wound him when I went to stand his shoot, so because of that, the Rathric the Maw is now directly into my Quarrelers, so that part was pretty rough. So here's a close-up of the left-hand flank with the Storms of Kos sitting nice and pretty on the top of this hill with a beautiful overwatching fires over across the entirety of the battlefield. And here's a close-up of Clan Helheim being completely surrounded now and being attacked in a pincer attack between Mistress Iridani, the Consort Dagon, as well as the Shacklemore Seers. So that part's kind of rough. And here's a close-up of Clan Roadsulker being attacked in a 3-way attack from Lord Mydaas Daechir on Kalibos in the back, the Morning Dawn on the left, as well as the Seastone Sorrows on the right, the front. So that part's pretty crazy. And here's a close-up of Rathric the Maw going directly into Clan Izmir, the Vengeful Ones, as well as Virza the Broken going directly into Clan Stormcloak, the Chosen of Valaya. So with the movement phase over, we go to magic phase. Lucky for me, my opponent had a really low magic phase. I was able to dispel all of her spells, so that part's kind of nice. So with the magic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. And in the shooting phase, both Reaper bolt throwers from the Storms of Kos turn to open fire with multiple shots directly into Bugman's Rangers, and because of that, I lost another 3 more Rangers in that part, which is kind of sad. All things considered, though, I got off pretty lucky on that part because I only lost a few Rangers, and luckily my Rangers passed their panic checks. They just kind of stand their ground for the most part. So that pretty much makes the shooting phase. And so with the shooting phase over with, we go directly to the combat phase. In the combat phase, I was able to put 2 wounds directly onto Mrs. Iridani as well as her Dark Pegasus Myrmidon, but that was all I was able to do. The combined attacks from her as well as from the Shacklemore Seers was enough to wipe out the last of my units, so that part was really sad as well. So because of that, Clan Helheim is now destroyed, and I managed to put 2 wounds directly onto her as well before it was over with. I was able to do that because I declared a challenge with Grim Borlock's son directly into her, and that was the way I was able to cause those 2 wounds, so that part was pretty nice. Meanwhile, on the far right-hand flank, combat between Virza the Broken as well as Clan Stormcloak, the Chosen Valaya, was perfect. He did manage to kill 4 of my Dwarf Warriors, which was kind of sad, but my 4 hammers were able just to put down the beating directly onto Virza the Broken, managed to kill him right off the bat, so that part was kind of nice as well. However, combat between Clan Izmir as well as Rathric the Maw did not go according to plan. Unfortunately for me, I just flooded my rolls when it came to my attacks. I was able to only wound him 1 time, so because of that, Virza the Broken is carrying 3 wounds. Rathric the Maw is carrying 3 wounds. And Rathric the Maw, though, he was able to kill 8 of my Quarrelers just between his normal attacks as well as his Thunderstop as well, which was really, really painful. Needless to say, I had to take a break test and...
Retreat! Retreat! Get the hell out of here!
I failed it. I ran back some, like, I think 8 or 9 inches. However, Rathric the Maw, he ran back, chased me down 11 inches. So Rathric the Maw goes tearing across the battlefield and is eating up the last of my Quarrelers from Clan Izmir. And just like that, destroyed my unit in one fell swoop. Alright, meanwhile, close combat over here on the center part of the battlefield. That part was actually pretty crazy. First of all, I was able to finally kill Captain Lodi Daechir, the Golden Sun, so that part was pretty cool. So Lara Varbodason just crammed his head in, caved his head in with an axe, so that part was kind of nice. Managed to kill him as well. In the end, though, when it came to the counterattacks and the fighting taking place, I managed to kill 8 members of the Seastone Sorrows, so that part was kind of nice. I killed nobody from the Morning Dawn, and I caused no damage whatsoever against Lord Mydaas Daechir as well as Kalibos in the back. However, when it was all said and done, after they all got done attacking me, I ended up losing 13 Dwarf Warriors when it was all said and done. So that part was pretty tragic. And needless to say, of course, I had to take a break test. I failed that break test, but instead of moving the miniatures, though, I decided to kind of call the game at this point because there's no way I'm going to pull a victory off on this one. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the end of the game. As you can see on this tabletop, only 2 units of mine are still left standing. That is Clan Stormcloak, the Chosen Valaya on the far right-hand side, as well as Bugmoon Ranger on the far left-hand side. And there's no way I'm going to be able to recount my losses on this one, so I call the game, earning another victory for Lady Domina as well as the Dark Elves. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go directly after action report because this game is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
I thought about staying. They offered me the chance to lead them, to teach them, to be king.
Uh-huh.
But my place is here, so I swallowed the juice, said the words, and here I am.
Did you say the words right this time?
Well, maybe I didn't say every single tiny little syllable, no, but basically I said them, yeah. Basically.
Alright folks, now it's time for the after action report. This is the part of the battle report we talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we can learn for the next time that we do battle. This is the after action report for the Golden Age Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report number 80, and this one ended being a victory for Lady Domina. She managed to score 2,528 victory points against me, and I only managed to score 1,211 points to her. For my losses, I lost Lord Ivar Bodison, the Lord of Fallen Holds, Yorick Shattershield, the Chosen of Grugni, Ragnar the Spellbreaker, Grim Burluxon, Clan Roadsoaker, the Cursed Company, Clan Izmir, the Vengeful Ones, Clan Helheim, the Fall of the Dragonbacks, the Sorrows of Eld, the Remember, as well as the Decemberist of Winter's Past. Lady Domina, she lost Captain Lodi Daechir, the Golden Sun, Milady Murder, the Tamer of Beasts, the Shadowrunners, the Crimson Blades, as well as Virza the Broken. And needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, I got my butt handed to me in this battle report, and this video just kind of shows how to do that. And the reason why that was the case is because Lady Domina did exactly what you're supposed to whenever you go up against a dwarf gun line. Every single time you go up against a dwarf gun line, do exactly what Lady Domina does, and what you do is you go for the flanks. The flanks on a dwarf gun line is its main weakness, and the reason why is because all the dwarf weapons that shoot are either stand, move, or shoot. That's all you can do. You can either stand place, or you can shoot, or you can move and not shoot. That's all you can do. So if you're a very fast maneuvering army like Dark Elves are, and you go for the flanks, you kind of mitigate the firepower that a dwarf gun line basically has. And that's exactly what Lady Domina did, and that's exactly what you should do whenever you guys go up against any kind of gun line, no matter what it is. Her attacks against my army was textbook how you would solve when you face against a gun line list. So if you're struggling to fight against a gun line list of any sort, pay attention to this video and do exactly what Lady Domina does, because that's how it's done. Not to mention, another problem that led me to lose this battle is that my shooting game was pretty lackluster on this one. Usually whenever I play this army and I open fire with my guns, I just destroy everything that's standing in front of me. However, I rolled really poorly on this one as well. So because of that, the dice gods must have had it out for me on this one, just because I just kept on rolling bad, just a bunch of 1s and 2s, not really doing much of anything. In fact, I actually did more damage whenever I was standing and shooting after being charged at than I did actually shooting this entire time as well. Not to mention, I kind of lost control of this engagement as well. Once her forces started attacking my flanks, I caused my army to be spread out too thin, and I kind of spread out my forces and kind of panicked in that. So by doing that, I did expose my flanks as well as the rear formations of my armies, which of course allowed me to be completely enveloped by the Dark Elves, and that was another huge problem I ran into as well. Either way though, this was still an extremely fun and educational game against an amazing opponent, and as always, I am always looking forward to a rematch against Lady Domino. So that's good news from this, you guys. As always, feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest, greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good news for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and stay classy.